Hello and welcome. I am Raziel, and as I have said this a lot of times, I've said this many times. I shouldn't say a lot of times. I sound like an idiot. I've said this many times that I do enjoy a good skirmish game. Skirmish games are, to me, the best type of war game. I lead a busy life, so a quick game is more fun for me. But what I was thinking about, and something that crossed my mind ages ago, actually, when Wild West Exodus, second edition or third edition, the latest Wild West Exodus that's been released, actually has rules which kind of allow you to grow it into a bigger game, which I think is actually a very fun and interesting thing to do. See, when it comes to skirmish games, they have so many great models. They have so many fun, different models, and it's just can be really, really enjoyable. And sometimes you want to show off all your models that you've painted and built, and you just don't want to play the quick game. You want to play a larger game in it. So, how would you go about this? Now, there's many good skirmish games out there. There's Wild West Exodus, obviously, Judge Dredd, The First Blood, there's Dead Zone, there's Kill Team. There's so many out there. And of course, I've already said First Blood anyway. And how would you go about making these into full games? First things first, I'm going to avoid Kings of War, well, Vanguard, which is Kings of War, and Dead Zone and the First Blood. Well, the First Blood can kind of be mentioned because it's a different set of rules, which actually allows for bigger games anyway, with far less restrictions than the Last Argument of Kings. And, well, because those three games in particular do happen to have their own big game versions. You got Kings of War, Firefight, 40k, and The Last Argument of Kings. So to discuss them into making them a bigger game is a moot point. Whereas games like Judge Dredd and Wild West Exodus, how about those games? They don't have a big battle game rule set. They are skirmish games through and through, and they do them very, very well. So how would you do it? How would you go from a small skirmish game, which has up to about 10 models, to a game that has 30 or 40 models? Well, I would say first things first, go to the Horus Heresy rulebook, or you can download it anyway, and use the Force Organization chart. You got your HQs, troops, fast attack, heavy support, etc. And then you got to kind of decide what would fit that part. So, if I'm to go Warrior Nations, I would say the Death from a Border Posse would be a fast attack unit. And rather than using all the models separately, keeping them rules separate anyway, use them as a single unit. And you could have a heavy support with the Thunderbird and the Great Eagle. And you could have elites such as the Hour of the Wolf Posse. You've got your Wailing Spirit Walkers there. And again, you could use that as a single unit, or you could divide it up. You could just use Wailing Spirit Walkers as your elite choice. And stuff like the Hunting Wolves and the Braves, these would be your troop choices. HQ would be quite simple, anyone who has a legendary title, such as Walks Looking, Theodore Roosevelt, and even legendary Burson Carpavian. This would fit quite nicely as your HQ. And they would have their substandard rules that you just be able to use. And this does actually make a very good narrative story because you would have a lot of named characters answering to a bigger hero or a larger their boss or leader, whatever phrase you wish to use. And that would be absolutely a lot of fun. That would be a lot of fun. Because this would give you choice in making your army. You could have each, when Wild West Exodus especially, you would have each one posse as a single unit, using them as they are the models anyway, but when it comes to turn activation, which Wild West Exodus does, you would move the whole posse rather than just a single model or single unit. Which, like we had two hunting wolves in tribal retribution, in Hour of the Wolf Posse. It also means that you're not stuck with like having a spare like the Great Raven, who, you kind of have to buy all the bits for his posse to be able to be used, but you'd be able to use him without that. And if you're using the Horus Heresy Force Organization chart, you would be able to use 2. So you could have 2 legendary characters in your army. But it would also mean something like the Death from the Above posse, you would have to not be allowed to take Maria Nappa because she's a legendary character and as part of that unit. So I would say just use what's in the box, not anything else you add. The box is the unit. Now Judge Dredd is a little bit different. Judge Dredd is, to me, the most perfect skirmish game. It's quick to paint, quick to build, quick to play. It doesn't take much time to play the game, the rules are very simple, and it's a lot of fun to play. But how would you do it with Judge Dredd? Again, keep what they use as points, as their standard points. This is what you should do. Don't change the point value, because a lot of these skirmish games are very well balanced. So that's what I would do straight away, keep that thing. Because it also means someone like Judge Dredd, who is a super powerful character, as he should be, isn't going to be overpowering anyone if you try and change the points levels. And then you've got the units, such as the street gangs, the Wally Squad, cadet specialist judges, the city death, all these other units which you can buy as well. And then you say, okay, what would be a heavy support unit, and what would be a fast attack unit, and what would be a troops unit? And if we take judges, for example, you would have, let's say Judge Dredd is your leader. You would either choose War Master or on foot, and then you would have street judges and the cadet judge as your troop choice. But we'll get back to the cadet judge in a minute, because then you would use anyone on a Law Master that isn't, Judge Gerhardt, Anderson, Judge Dredd as your fast attack. And your elites would be the specialist judges. So you could have this very wide-ranging, diverse army, and judges would be a small army because they are absolutely overpowered within the game of Judge Dredd, which is absolutely necessity, because that's what they are. And again, with other armies and other factions within Judge Dredd, with Clegg Har, you only got the Clegg Har, which is a shame. It would be nice to see, some different models from them, like that big T-Rex that Judge Dredd killed, which was fun. Yeah, if they ever write rules to that would be fantastic. But like the street gangs, you've got the mutant Skyriders, and you've got the Denizens as well, and the Fatties. You've got all these other units you could add into the street gangs and use them as, your fast attack elite, etc. So basically what a lot of these rules would mean is just trying to pick a single faction. Let's go back to judges. And saying, right, I'm doing a judge army. I've got my street judges as my troop choice. I have, let's say, 6. And then I need 2 units of 3. Or 8 and 2 units of 4. That's better. 8 and you have your 2 units of 4. And you got this cadet judge, and you use the Lawmaster version. So you got a fast attack. And you got a squad of specialist judges for your elites. A nice diverse range of models and different ways to play, and you can have a pretty large battle with this. And the same goes for Wild West Exodus as well. That you use, and let's go, Luke's Walking is your HQ. You have some Braves, 2 boxes of Braves for your troops choices, Death from Above posse as your fast attack, a Great Eagle for your I would say heavy support, because it's actually quite a hard hitter. And something like Wayland Spirit Walkers as your elites. It's a small force for, a standard battle game, but you can grow and expand, going with what you need and what you want. However, as a skirmish game, you've got a fair whack of models there. You would have, you'd have 4 units. You'd have a big centerpiece. You'd have a decent HQ. And that would be it. So, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you all have a good day, and I hope to see you all again soon. If you wish to save money on your wargaming, don't forget to click Wayland Games down below. You get up to 20% off, and plus the points can add up to an extra 1% on your expenditure there. There is also, and they got loads of stuff there. I use them all the time. I really do. There is also Forbidden Planet for your comics, DVDs, mangas, etc. And there's my merchandise, comics, t-shirts, cups. Both links are down below. There's Skyforge, never get Skyforge, good friend of mine, get him up on that Google algorithm. And finally, Patreon, because business. Bye-bye.